One that stuck out to me, and people will probably think I'm in need of crazy pills. Matt Eberflus' departure as a
Mm.
defensive coordinator, not necessarily a head coach, because people have their gripes about his checkered past in that department, and rightfully so. But as a defensive coordinator, the guy was nails. His defense showed up every single week. He developed young talent, and they showed up ready to compete. So I'm excited to see, but I'm a little hesitant to say they've got better on the defensive side of the ball.
I love Eberflus as a defensive coordinator. The number
Good defense.
A really good defense. The Chicago Bears under Matt Eberflus were the #1 defense over the final 8 games of the year.
Yeah.
The #1. They led the league with 16 takeaways in those 8 games for that. So when you talk
What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James. I'm in these streets. I'm in these Matt Eberflus streets. As you see, this Colt defense, it was playing crazy under his tutelage when he left the Cowboys and became the defensive coordinator. One thing you notice about that, flying to the ball from that Marinelli tree. Create a lot of turnovers. So when we look at this defense, it's not a complicated scheme. It's a basic scheme, but it's a scheme where it's all-out effort, and it's all-out effort at all times. And that's what you hear about what's going on right now in camp, and it's opportunistic, and hopefully we're going to see that as well. And that's kind of the pros of this defense, this fourth you kind of covered too. As you see right here, flying to the ball, but you can scheme play action plays where you'll see open holes in this zone, open plays, misdirection plays. So I showed kind of the pros and cons, kind of talking about this as we go on about the Matt Eberflus defense. Also, when he was at Chicago, how he can basically change schemes. He's very multiple. He's varied. Bucky Irvin talks about the defense, Colts defense, and how it went from kind of worst to first. Under his tutelage, it was a top 10 defense in points allowed and yards. Also, what Matt Eberflus looks for in his defense, the players that he liked to have in his defense to make his defense successful. I'm showing you the traits from this guy named Matt Bowen, who used to be, I believe, a safety in the NFL. Now he's a commentator. And then players, 3-tech, weak side, nickel. Cowboys have all those players, things to talk about as we talk about. What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James, man. I'm in these streets. You know what it is. I'm in these work streets, stay in these work streets. It don't never change. It don't never stop. We about to do some vacation here soon, and I need to get back to Cali. I ain't even drinking the Kool-Aid, but I just need to get back to Cali because I want to go kick it. And my dog Mel, you better vouch for me if you watch this video. You better vouch for me on this one. But this video today is about Mr. And if this light gets in your way, I'm just trying to stay in the way so it don't blind you. So I apologize if it hits you. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting my videos. They've been going really good. I really like it. Really appreciate the support for the views, the likes, all that good stuff. Let's keep that going. Now, I want to talk about Mr. Matt Eberflus today and his defense. As you got to see before I came on, I showed a little bit of what people thought of Matt Eberflus and a little bit of the concepts of Matt Eberflus, of the pros and the cons. First, let's talk about the people that basically spoke highly of Matt Eberflus. The main person that I was looking at, that I listened to, that spoke very highly of Matt Eberflus was Kyle Long. I'm sorry, not Kyle Young, Kyle Long. You know Chris and Kyle Long, the Long brothers from the great Howie Long. Kyle played quite a few years with the Chicago Bears. I believe he played 7 years, was a first-round draft pick, offensive lineman with them, so he still speaks on the Chicago Bears. And you heard what he said. And this is what I said about quite a few coaches. Ron Marinelli is one of them, and he came from that tree. Is that basically, remember, we're in these worksheets, so you might hear some things. Basically, but what I'm saying is, Rob Marinelli, I thought he was a damn good defensive coordinator, but he sucked as a coach. You saw what he went through as Detroit as a head coach. But when he was all defensive coordinator, did his damn thing. Now, the thing about Rob, and also, not just with Rob Marinelli, I believe, a lot of defensive coaches don't become great head coaches. It's a rarity. They have a few years and they fizzle because it seems like they never seem to get on page with the offensive team. That also happened with Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips was a coach with the Dallas Cowboys too. He was not an offensive guy. Great defensive. You saw the defenses from Wade Phillips from the get. But one of the things that he always was a shortcoming was playoffs. He just could never get teams over hump. Dan Quinn is another guy who I think I believe is a better defensive coordinator than head coach. Obviously, he did go to a Super Bowl, so he has that at least on his background. But I believe it's going to fizzle out in the show as well. I believe Matt Eberflus falls into this category of great defensive coordinator, or very, very good defensive coordinator to great, but he's not a head coach. And I remember saying that when he was with the Indianapolis Colts after he left the Dallas Cowboys, because I wanted him to stay the defensive coordinator when Rod Marinelli was here. I wanted him to be the defensive coordinator. He left, said he didn't want to step on Rod's toes. I understood it. He went over to Indianapolis and took that defense from a bottom barrel, bottom 30 defense, whether in points and yards allowed, to a top 10, and consistently kept it top 10. I remember that year that they came in and kicked Dallas's ass when Dallas had that 2018 season that was really good. Eberflus's defense shut Dallas down, and they really stopped Dallas Cowboys' win streak. They were on like a 5-6 game win streak with Amari Cooper, and they stopped him and shut him down defensively, scored nothing, and offensively ran it down their throats. So he knew about how to beat Dallas, and he basically did it in that game. But if we're talking about, like I said, with the Eberflus, I just felt like when he went over to Indianapolis, and I told my dog, Mel Hayes, and if you're in this video and watch this, tell him. When he was over Chicago, I said, won't last there, he's going to get fired. I also told my dog, Mel, as soon as he got fired, there were rumblings about him getting fired. I said, Dallas Cowboys going to hire him. That's going to be their new defense coordinator. I told Mel on Twitter, I said, that's who they're hiring. If he gets fired in Chicago, he's going back to Dallas. Bam! Because I know Dallas. I know what they think. I know their thought patterns. You feel me? And I knew Eberflus would come back to Dallas because, just like he said on the Doomsday podcast, that it was the familiarity. He loved the Jones. He's been with them 5 years. So obviously, there was a lot of love there. They were trying to offer him the job, you feel me? So it wasn't like they didn't. You know, the Cowboys love to do the circle back. If they didn't mess with you in the beginning, or they had their eyes on you in the beginning, they're going to try to circle back and get you some kind of way if they can, because they like to keep it in the family. That's just what it is. They like to keep it in the family. So he said he came back because he loved the Joneses. It felt familiar to him. He said, he liked the pieces over here. Dak was one of the reasons, and he got along with Shotty. He said Shotty was one of the reasons too. And I believe they're going to make a good combo. I feel like they will have good conversation between each other, and I think it's going to be good, a good give and take between that relationship, and I think that's why it's going to work. But when I'm talking about this defense, and doing a lot of talking, but basically with this defense is a 4-3 base defense. It's more of like a cover 2, but to me it's from the Marinelli tree, where when you listen to Eberflus in that Doomsday podcast, it's not a complicated defense, just like Marinelli. It wasn't complicated, but he had the Derrick Brooks, you had the Warren Sapp, you had the John Lynch, you had those type of guys that can run that defense, and when you have that type of players that can run that defense is astronomical, because you have 11 guys who have the talent or having effort or going after the ball. That's what Eberflus says. The reason why this defense is going to be successful because it's not complicated. Just like you said, it's not a complicated defense. You play free. You're able to play free. You play with a free mind because it's not a lot of complications in this defense. That's why it's about effort. It's about everybody playing full effort, hat to the ball, everybody at all times, effort. That's what Ron Marinelli stood for. That's what Eberflus is. He's a better defensive coach than head coach, and he's going to kick ass as a defensive coordinator. I think he is. Now, does he have the players? Yes. We talked about the 3-tech. That's why I believe he wanted Osa back. Read that in those excerpts. Read why he wants to have the 3-tech. Osa, the weak side linebacker, which can be the Micah Parsons, or if you want to do the Kenneth Murray, but definitely could be your Micah Parsons, because you saw what Darius Leonard did, and then you had Eric Armstead over there as well. So you can definitely use Osa. And then the nickel back, what he had like Kenny Moore, that nickel aggressive corner. That's why you see a lot of Deron Bland in that slot. So he has all the players that I put down on there, to put players that he wants to have in that program for it to be successful. They're all here in Dallas, and I can see why he wanted to come over here, because it's an easy transition. You already know who's over here, and you got talent. Why wouldn't you? Makes sense, right? So anyway, with this defense, like I said, it's not complicated. It's an easier scheme. I had Matt Johnson actually on my podcast a while back when I first started, like 2018, maybe 2019. Shout out to you, Matt. I probably ain't talked to him forever, but he's over there killing it in high school football coach. But Matt was telling me when he came in the league, He was playing under Rob Ryan. One of the things he was breaking down to me was that scheme and that 3-4 was complicated, and that's the reason why there was a lot of mistakes always in that defense, because Rob was always trying to be outsmarting the offense, so he's always trying to put different installs all the time. So it said it got to a point where the defense, when it was clicking, but you had a lot of things you had to think about. There was a lot of things you had to know, a lot of assignments you had to know, and if you missed those assignments, it broke down the defense. And he said that's why there were a lot of mistakes. And he said also Rob Ryan would have a install for the whole week, and then at the end of the week, if he felt like he wanted to change something, he felt like the offense was on to him, he would change at the last minute. And they were going to the game thinking that we had this one whole game plan, and then he switched up at the last minute, and mistakes happen. That's what you don't really see with this 4-3 cover-based defense. It's predicated on running to the ball, attacking the line of scrimmage. You heard what Matt Eberflus said in the Doomsday podcast. 2 things that we're going to do: stop the run, create turnovers. You saw what Chase Daniels talked about. They were the top defense and creating turnovers, 16 turnovers. So I believe all those things are going to be in the fold. That's what you're really going to see with this defense. As I said before, if you're an offense, the things that can give this defense problems is schemed play action and misdirection plays, because everybody's flowing to the ball. You can hit them with the play action and come the other way, and you can see where it gets the open gaps in the defense, especially in zones. There's going to be shallow areas where you can really attack a zone, and if you're getting everybody going one direction and you hit them with a play action or a misdirection play, that's where you can really get explosive plays happen. So we'll see what happens. I think the Cowboys have the players to make this defense go. I think Matt Eberflus is a better defensive coach than head coach. That's why I think he's going to flourish. I also think he's going to flourish because I think him and Schottenheimer are going to really make a good team together. You got, you know what I'm saying? You got the familiarity with both the coaches. I think they're going to get along. I think you have the players to make this defense go. I think you're going to see a lot of energy and a lot of excitement. I think this defense is going to be like Dan Quinn the first couple of years. When Dan Quinn first hit the scene, that defense went crazy, and I feel like this is going to be the same thing, because a lot of people are going to play free, a lot of people are going to play fast, and I believe with that, that's why there's going to be success in this defense. We'll see. You still need that one tech, and I feel like that'll get exposed if you don't get it. You just seen that they released the Rodgers kid who just can't seem to hang on, and they picked up Renfrey from the USFL, so UFL, whatever it is. We'll see. He's undersized, 3 tech. Got rid of a 1 tech, 4-3. We'll see. But that's just my thoughts. Sorry I talked too much, but I had a lot to get in. Please watch this whole video, because a lot of good things that you really gonna hear if you really want to know about this defense, because this is what this defense is. It's not a blitzing type defense. It's predicated on that front 4 and that front 7. That's why you got to get those guys. That's why I like those edge guys. That's why I like the linebackers. And you can shore up that cornerback position. But we'll see. Give me your thoughts. Big Game James, I'm out. Peace.